Is that internet? You got to wait till next month.
Okay, so good
Maybe next month.
morning, good evening, everybody, wherever you are in the world. I have got a treat for you. I have with me today the founder of the All Women's Network, Hannah. And she does so many things, 101 things, a busy woman with so much to give and has time out to share with us today. She is the founder of the All Women's Network, and she's got a huge platform that celebrates women's achievement and successes, where she connects women with similar interests and stories to share. She's a multi-award winner, career go-getter, mother, entrepreneur, speaker, beauty expert, founder, mentor, event marketing expert, a business consultant, event and network organizer, and conference designer expert too. She hosts huge annual Women Businesses Conference every year, and is amazing in the female entrepreneur business networking event scene as well. She is here to help us, give us some tips and helps to empower women, girls, and also men that are listening too, to improve their self-esteem, build their confidence, and strengthen their lives, families, and communities. And Hannah and her company has a vision that all women and girls experience equality, independence, and self-worth throughout their lives. And their goal is to create opportunities, develop programs, and provide training which can build employment, careers, etc. Huge communities. And she's an expert, of course, as I've said already, in beauty and creating training and seminars and networking and lots of business development steps as well. I give you Hannah. Welcome so much, Hannah. I'm so pleased to have you on the show today.
Thank you. Oh God, wow, amazing. You know, sometimes when people share and talk about you and you just think, wow, all
Yeah.
that, so it's just amazing to just hear. So thank you so much for the intro.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Did I leave anything out you want our listeners to know or hear? Or add
Well,
it
I'm a
in?
mother of three and married for over 14 years. So
Nice,
yeah.
nice, excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I was just having a chat with you. We've just connected recently, which I'm really grateful for.
Mm.
And just over the time, like even how we've connected, like we are strangers with so many similarities at the same time. And
Indeed.
yeah, and it's just really because this whole month I'm talking about how to effectively start conversations with strangers, and I love talking to people. I love talking on my own as well. But I know that you've got such skills, years and years of expertise and experience in this. And I was just wondering, what are your thoughts kind of like on how do you feel about starting conversations with strangers, and any tips that you can give us and the listeners?
Mm. I absolutely feel really fine in terms of speaking to strangers. I mean, I speak to strangers every day.
Mm,
So, for example, even if I have to go for meetings and stuff like that, sometimes
mm,
when I get to the reception area, I would occasionally see someone who's also sitting waiting to be seen. And so sometimes we could actually greet each other with a smile first,
mm,
and the conversation just starts. I think when you talk to strangers, you're making a beautiful interruptions
mm,
into the expected narrative of your daily life and theirs as well. There is this unexpected connection that actually takes place, and if you don't talk to strangers, it's almost like you're missing out on all
mm,
the great benefits. And when I talk about the benefits, I'm talking about the ultimate connection. um, Through speaking to quite a lot of people, I've been able to make really great connections and some collaborations with them, being um, part of a large female entrepreneurial community
mm,
and as the CEO of All Women's Network. Most of the women that have actually come through our doors, most of them are actually people that I've actually met from a meeting or maybe from the outside, and I've invited them to actually come. So, speaking to strangers brings ultimate benefits.
mm,
You're able to connect with them, you're able to share your ideas with them, and also find out who they are and how you can actually help or support them, or whether they can actually help and support and elevate you as well. So,
mm.
there are great benefits in starting a conversation, especially now during COVID season.
Yeah.
When you go out shopping, although we're sort of 2 meters apart, some people still smile and they want to have a conversation
Mm-hmm.
because they've been locked in for weeks and weeks on end. And
Yeah.
so coming out, having a great prospect and being positive and wanting to just kind of share conversations, and just people just want to talk, isn't it? People just
Yeah.
want to have a conversation, and they want to keep that interaction going and that engagement. So for me, there are great benefits in talking to people. It gives you the opportunity to get to know them, and also for them to get to know you. And, great things do happen.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you for sharing about that. Yeah, definitely. I love smiling. I love what you said about beautiful interruptions, definitely. And it's so great that you talked about like kind of time of now with COVID and people just want to talk. So that smile is
Mhm.
definitely just like a tip just to smile. It's like it's really hard. Like some people don't want to smile or feel like if I smile, will they smile back? But I really love that you said just
Absolutely.
smile and that can start the connection. And then do you have kind of any tips on like how we can start conversations with people? Because a lot of stuff has kind of moved online. So I like that you mentioned like people talking and smiling kind of when you're out of the shops. Do you have any kind of tips about kind of approaching people online in the virtual world, which seems to be growing now?
Absolutely. I mean, there are so many different ways you can actually start the conversation, especially online. So I'll give you an example. We used to kind of run all our services offline,
Hmm.
and we host the monthly network events for women in business, aspiring with female in business who are entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
And when the lockdown started, I had to think of a way for us to actually continue doing it because there was a demand. This was something that we did offline.
Hmm.
And after a few weeks, when I actually had to reflect and pause and start thinking of ways to actually put this online, and the idea came to me to turn it into a virtual online networking for female entrepreneurs. And so
Hmm.
it was something that I've never done before. It was new to me, and I'm always very excited to do something different, to do something that was outside of my comfort zone.
Hmm.
And so I decided to do my research and really go into finding out how to kind of host virtual events, and also ask other people who are already doing that before the lockdown, and then starting to get my program together and also involving other females as well who are also in business. And one of the first things that I actually found out that this was something that was already in existence and is actually something that is actually growing other people's businesses. And it was really
Hmm.
amazing to see, because a lot of time when you're focused on doing one thing, you
Hmm.
sort of don't really see what else is going on that could be actually good for your business.
Yeah.
And I finally went ahead and I did and created the flyer, the poster, send it, created an Eventbrite page. So these are things that really contributes in terms of when you're actually trying to put an event together and it's an online event. So, so these are simple tips and processes. So you want to kind of do your research first and
Yeah.
find out about how to actually get started, especially if you're very new to the field.
Yeah.
And you also want to be very organized
Hmm.
because you've never done it before, and you want to look as professional as possible.
Yeah.
And you also want to ask people to actually help and support you, because sometimes you may not get it right the first time. But
Hmm.
if you have somebody in your network or someone that is already doing it, you may want to kind of ask them some few questions just to give you clarity and help you. And they can actually partner with you. I think connections and collaborations is key, especially when you haven't done something before. It
Yeah.
makes it a lot easier and you're able to share and delegate the task. And also looking for speaker to actually help you, because sometimes you may not be, good at or everything. You
Yes.
know your niche and you know what you're good at. And so if you have a specific topic that you wanted to get somebody, a speaker who is a professional, to come and share
Hmm.
their knowledge and their expertise, or even run a little masterclass to help you, and that should be fine, because then there's that weight lifted off your shoulder. And also looking for video conferencing apps that would actually help, because that is key, because that is the platform that will host your virtual event online. And now a lot of people are using Zoom and also other platforms. It's amazing how I didn't even realize that there's so many video conferencing apps. Being
Yeah.
in COVID-19 right now, being in this lockdown has actually pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Hmm.
These are things that I never really you know, access before, because I
Yeah.
didn't feel I needed to.
Mhm.
You know, I really didn't feel like I needed to. But all of a sudden, it's almost like I really want to learn, and I want to be good at what I do, and I want to serve my best. And
Yeah.
so I'm a very professional person, and whatever I want to do, it's got to be good. It's got to be the best. And so I strive to be the best. And so I started doing my work and my research, and I realized that, okay, I could use Zoom, but however, there's so many other different apps. I came
Yes.
across StreamYard, which is what I use for my podcast live, which she
Yeah.
was actually on last week. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
So yeah, absolutely. And also preparing ahead is key. You've got to prepare your agenda. You've got to have a small program so that you know what you're doing. And
Mhm.
also inviting people, making it interesting, marketing it really nicely, you know,
Mhm.
promoting it, let people know what you're doing, and involving others as well for them to be part of it as well. You know,
Mhm.
bringing that positive energy, the attitude, it's
Yeah.
really, really important, because what you focus on is exactly what would, you know, make it all work for you. And
Mhm.
also avoid any kind of distraction, be focused and be determined to make sure that it's a successful event. And
Mhm.
also, once you finish, just follow through and, you know, follow up as well, in terms of reaching out to those who have actually come on. So I now hosted it, and we had over 21 women who came. And the funny thing was that we now reach a global platform. This was a
Yeah.
different process for us. We've never had anybody who was maybe coming from a different part of the world. It was
Mhm.
usually people who were coming from different areas who were coming to this event, which we were doing online
Mhm.
every month. But then now it's almost like we have now gone global. So when people
Yeah.
use the word global or international, I
Yeah.
now understand a little bit more better
Yeah.
what that means. People from France connected with us, and people
Mm.
from different parts of the world connected with us, because this is the power of social media. This is the power of online virtual platforms, because you're able to reach more audience, you're able to engage more widely. And I think, you know, these are the tips and the processes that I've had to use, especially during this time, and I'm really enjoying it. We have another event coming up this Friday, the 15th, and we're going to be helping so many women to really turn their ideas and their expertise into an online business, because now I'm really trying to make sure that I'm keeping things online and offline, but currently we are online. So yes.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing. Sounds so brilliant. Like, just to really, I love the points you said about do your research, connect, and try not to do everything on
Mm,
your own, be organized, a professional. And I love that you
yes.
mentioned about your network. Your network can have the answer. And
Mm-hmm.
just, I love the part you said, prepare beforehand, avoid distractions, make
Yes.
it professional, have an agenda. And then I like the bit that not all kind of everyone who's doing online stuff do is the follow up, the thank you,
Mm,
the connection after, rather than like, okay, thanks, I've got my podcast or information or training from you. It's that connection after. That's what makes it more unique. And that's where the professionalism comes in. It's the follow up after. That is the
absolutely.
different levels, definitely.
Indeed. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then I just love like when I speak to you as well, like how um, you've really got great kind of listening and speaking skills. Because whenever I speak to you, I ask you a
Mhm.
question or something, and then you always kind of feed it back to me or rephrase it or paraphrase into what you say. Like
Oh,
how?
thank you.
Yeah, it's really a great skill. Like how can you? Have you got any advice for our listeners on how to, when we're speaking to people we don't know, how's it best to
Yeah.
kind of communicate that part, like when they're talking?
I think it's just to be aware of your tone and your delivery and how you
Mhm.
speak to people, and how that actually resonates with them as well, the way
Mhm.
they understand it and receive it. I think just to be aware of your tone, and also be approachable as well, because some
Mhm.
people, they're not really approachable, and so there is that sort of negative energy, that barrier, you know, that
Mhm.
kind of is causing some form of resistance for them to be able to receive your conversation or the
Mhm.
information that you're about to deliver or actually give. You know, don't feel you need to have the need to actually dominate the conversation. Let it flow easily, let the other person speak as well. I think those are really important things. Sometimes you have people who are such overpowering speaker, and they
Mm-hmm.
really do not give anybody else the opportunity to actually share their own knowledge and share their own information. I think it's not necessary for you to dominate a conversation. Let the conversation flow naturally. Let the other person speak. Give them time to speak. And also listening. The power to listen is important. To
Mm-hmm.
understand what somebody is saying, and also how you're going to respond. And your response is also key as well, because the way the other person receives it is really, really important. And sometimes if you feel like the person has received your conversation in the wrong way, then have the soft approach to explain to them exactly what you mean,
Mm-hmm.
so that way there isn't any conflict or any kind of anger rooting, um, from your gut. And just be very subtle and explain to them in the best way that you can, so that there is that level of understanding. I think conversation leads to so many great
Mm-hmm.
opportunities, to be quite honest. It's a social skills to have, and we're always having conversation all the time anyway, no
Yeah.
matter where we are. Even right now, we're having a conversation about conversation,
Yeah.
you know. So absolutely,
Yeah.
um, it's really key. I mean, it's really key, and it's really important for you to understand how to understand the way people speak, because everybody speaks differently. Our
Mm-hmm.
upbringing, the way we have been brought up, is totally different. And so everybody has a way of delivering things. And I think it's really important for us to understand how to communicate. Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah. I just loved all those points. Those tips are really amazing
Mm,
what you shared about the tone and delivery, because you could be saying the most kind of distressing news, but it's the tone and delivery that you kind of give it in that's key. And I love the point about not trying to dominate a conversation, because some people may be great
yes.
speakers but not good
Hmm.
listeners, and you've shown just that you need to have a skill of both areas to be a great listener, to be a great speaker.
Absolutely.
And I love it when
Indeed.
you say, yeah, just flow naturally, because some people may be
Mm,
so trained in an area, they want conversations to go this way, that way, but just let it
yes,
flow, because we're all from different
indeed.
backgrounds. And I just
That's
love
right.
it. Like, and you said as well, to explain, to resolve conflict, and just as best as we each can, and just appreciate that everyone kind of speaks differently. And that's really, really helpful. Definitely.
Absolutely. Indeed.
Yeah, I think that's really, really great about, particularly when we're speaking with people we don't know, it's really good
Yes.
to have a subtle or a humble tone as well. And I wanted to ask as well, because you seem really naturally skilled, like,
Mm,
like, how would you approach people, say, for example, when we get to our new normal, or
yes.
our virtual normal now? Like, I wanted to talk about, like, what boundaries are useful to establish when you're speaking to someone, but you still want a human connection, even though you're speaking to someone who's a stranger, where it could be like a speed networking event, or it could be an online training session. How would you establish being friendly but professional all at the same time?
So in my line of work, it provides me the opportunity to be professional.
Mm-hmm.
And so I carry myself as a professional woman in business, as a professional person.
Mm-hmm.
And so my delivery, it's really about ensuring that I'm including everybody, and I'm making my speeches, my talks inclusive, and
Mm-hmm.
inviting people into my conversation and creating that sort of positive atmosphere, and also an encouraging and motivating
Mm.
platform for people where they can also share and contribute and interact and join into the conversation. And I make it very open as possible, and also try not to use, jargons. I like to just
Mm.
speak from the heart and just be real. I just tell people I'm just me. I just want to be simple, intentional, and just be unique. I want you to be able to understand me. And so I will speak to you just the way I would speak to a friend, and make the
Yeah.
conversation as simple as possible and let it flow. I think it's also important to also notice the lack of attention and interest. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes there could be distractions as well. and this could actually be a barrier in terms of people not being able to receive what you're telling them. So the power of engaging your audience is very, very important. So
Mhm.
before you even start your conversations, you want to look at the audience. Who are you speaking to? Who are
Yeah.
they? And what language are you using? Because there is power in language. So for example, if you're trying to engage them about how to be confident, so then you
Mhm.
want to be speaking the language that actually resonates with them. So you want to talk about lack of motivation, anxiety, impulsive syndrome. You want to
Yeah.
mention those things, anxiousness, confused, stuck, limiting beliefs. So all those words, those are languages that actually resonates with your audience.
Mhm.
And so you want to kind of, incorporate that in your conversations, because it really makes a difference from their viewpoint, and also having the knowledge around your area of expertise and being prepared, because that really shows that you understand what you're exactly doing. And also being confident is definitely key, because
Mhm.
everything that we do, there has to be a level of confidence for us to be able to deliver it, and also a level of believing in ourselves that what we
Mhm.
are about to share or what we're about to give out is going to help somebody else and make a difference in their lives. Yeah.
Definitely. Wow. Thank you so much. So much was in that answer. So much in that. I 100% are with you, Liv. The no jargon, because sometimes that kind of puts people into in and out groups. And I love that the All Women's Network is an inclusive one,
Yes.
and inclusive talks and business and training, and it's encouraging and motivating, and I like that it starts with you, because you are a
Mm,
professional, you are engaging, you are encouraging. So it starts with you, and that is what you give out. And I love it, just to be real and to be a friend, because there's so many ways you can hide. Like, this is my Instagram face, this is my Facebook face, this is my home face. It's so
yeah,
easy, definitely, and just
absolutely.
yeah,
And
and
I
I
think
love
some of us, we try to be who we're not. And I
yes,
always encourage people to just be yourself, because everybody's waiting for the real you. And
yes,
if you just serve yourself to the world, we will gladly accept it as it
yeah,
is. I always
definitely.
tell people about these 7 C's of communication, and
Hmm.
that is courtesy,
Yes.
and, correctness,
Hmm.
clarity, consideration, creativity, completeness,
Hmm.
concreteness, and the last one, which is conciseness. So all those things, they all make up how to deliver yourself, how to communicate, how to reach out to your audience, how to be engaging and more
Hmm.
interactive, so yes.
Wow.
Mm.
Excellent. I don't know those. So I wrote this 7 C's down. I got
I've
courtesy.
given you, I've given you homework to do.
Yeah. Courtesy I got. I tried to write them down.
I know. I
Courtesy.
remember. I remember when we talked about the 7 Ds of
Oh,
time management. Do you remember that?
yes.
I'm always bringing the twist in it, because I like to just bring a little bit of something that others may not have actually heard of, or
Yeah,
not
definitely.
actually come across it.
Yeah,
So it's really, really important. There's so many levels to different ways of learning and information.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So you said 7 of them. So it's courtesy,
Yes.
correctness,
Mm-hmm.
clarity,
Yeah.
considerate, um,
Consideration,
consideration, and then
creativity.
creativity, that was the one,
Yeah.
correctness and
Mm-hmm.
conciseness. Can you
Conciseness.
imagine?
Yeah.
I didn't put in the one I love,
Concreteness as well.
creative. Yeah, I love it. Really, really good.
Uh,
I'm gonna like
Absolutely.
put that on a post there or somewhere. I've got to share that one, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, really,
The
really
7 C's of
helpful.
communication. Absolutely.
Yeah, really,
And then
really
you even
helpful.
have the what do you call this? It's another one, the 5 W's of communications, and they are who, and that is the source, okay, and then the what, and that is
Mhm,
the message, and the way, which is in what
mhm,
way are you passing your message, your channel, to whom, that is the
mhm.
receiver, and also what, which is the feedback, the effect. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Particularly like if you're doing like marketing and stuff, I can see that would really niche down what you need to say and to who and when.
Absolutely. And these are the tools that we actually incorporate when we're doing our annual conference for women. So the
Nice.
who are we serving? Who are
Yeah.
they? And what message are we trying to pass? What message do
Mhm.
we want them to receive? And what channel are we going to pass this message through? And whom are they, in terms of what
Mhm.
sort of businesses do they have? What are they looking for? What language
Yeah.
are they speaking?
Yeah.
And also the feedback, which is the evaluation at the end, how they found the event, what would they like to see next, how can we improve, all those things. So these
Mhm.
are very powerful W's of communication.
Definitely. Really, really key. And easy to remember as well.
Mm,
Very easy to remember. And
exactly.
yeah.
Yes. The
Short
who, the
short
what, the
but
why,
powerful. Yeah.
but powerful indeed.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. And just yeah, thank you so much for all of those tips. And I've got
You're
two
welcome.
two different bits of homework I'm going to be googling after. I can't wait.
Oh,
I wanted to ask as well. Sometimes, because we spoke a little bit about this about dominant conversations, I wanted to
mm.
ask as well, like often in conversations, particularly between strangers, like what tips would you suggest about managing awkward pauses or silences in conversations? What are some tips or ideas that might work?
I think it's to basically just keep calm,
Mhm.
keep composed, and just relax yourself, and
Mhm.
just be as natural as possible.
Mhm.
Um, this awkward feeling, it's quite weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
That sort of weird pause.
Mhm. Yeah.
Sometimes it could be before, it can be during, it can be after. It's just
Yeah.
about finding a way to kind of not really make it a challenge or a problem, you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Sort of looking at other ways that you can actually keep yourself calm,
Yeah.
and just keep yourself composed, really, until another um, positive thing comes through into that conversation.
Mhm.
Even in our sentences, there is always a pause. We always use a
Yep.
punctuation, isn't it? A comma
Yeah.
in between the sections, or in between our writing, or stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it depends on how we see it as well. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Do we want to feel awkward with that pause, or we want to kind of change it? So we can also change it around with our mindsets.
Mhm.
You understand? And just say, maybe I needed to be still at this point then.
Mhm.
You understand? Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be awkward then.
Yeah.
Maybe I needed to pause at this time, and
Yeah.
perhaps think of it in a different way, rather than think of it as a challenge. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. I love that. Yeah. I love it that it's about like the mindset, because often you can be kind of think like, oh, I need to talk, 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 fill the gap. But no, it's okay to have that
Mhm.
stillness. It's okay
Absolutely.
to, like what you said, like obey the punctuations. There is a full stop for a reason. So just stop and be calm and
Exactly.
like I like that you kind of said be comfortable with the pauses or the silences, because it's okay, because it might actually sometimes I
Mhm.
find that the silences and the pauses can speak or add in addition more power to what you've already said. And I just
Exactly.
yeah, I just
And
love it.
yeah, and sometimes, some of the reasons we use the pauses are for us to have a variety, you
Mhm.
understand, of information, and also a level of understanding, and also to emphasize something.
Yes,
So,
yes.
for example, if you were doing a presentation, you may want to pause for a minute,
Mhm.
because you want to emphasize on a particular session of that PowerPoint.
Yeah.
And you also want to get the understanding of your class, or the audience that you're actually sharing the PowerPoint with.
Mhm.
For me, it's like a pause is a form of oral punctuation that
Yep.
that would help the audience, okay, to
Mhm.
reflect on what you've actually said.
Mhm.
So sometimes a pause doesn't have to be awkward. Sometimes a pause
Yep.
is actually needed. You know what I mean? In a way,
Yeah.
it's a sudden silence, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you've actually um, been talking for quite a long time, and you also
Mhm.
want to have a break yourself, you know.
Yeah.
So it's also
Definitely.
a sudden silence whereby, okay, I've actually delivered, and I now want them to actually digest information. And actually, once they digest this information, this would actually bring or reinforce some form of questioning,
Mm-hmm.
for them to raise their hands up and ask me a question, for them to gain some direction and clarity as to
Mm-hmm.
what the task is, so sometimes pause doesn't have to be awkward, you
Yeah,
know, it's a
definitely.
form of oral punctuation sometimes.
Yeah. I like
Mm.
that. I've never heard it called that. Oral punctuation.
Oral
Definitely.
punctuation,
Yeah.
yeah, oral
And so,
punctuation.
yeah, I love
Because the
it.
way I look at it is that in your sentencing, if you're doing an essay, the
Mm-hmm.
teachers are always looking for grammar, and they're always
Yes.
looking for punctuations and how you've actually constructed your essay. So there should be a pause. And I
Yeah.
usually tell my children when they're writing, especially the youngest one when he's doing his big writing,
Mm-hmm.
where they have to write a big full A4 paper about any topic that they've been
Yeah.
given, there must be a pause. There has to be a comma.
Yeah,
Yeah, you've got to
definitely.
pause. In
Yeah.
life, you've got to pause. Even right now, when the COVID started, we all had to take a pause and
Yes.
think, what is next? you
Yes,
know, and then start
definitely.
again. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I
Mm.
love it. Oral punctuation. I love that. And I love it that it gives the chance to reflect, because often we're always on
Yes.
the go, but we need to
Hmm.
have a stillness and to reflect, digest. And I love it when you said to reinforce and then question what has been fed and then build on that, because all the information is supposed to give some type of change, give clarity, and then build on top of that rather than just kind of feed. Stop,
Yes,
pause,
absolutely.
reflect, change, build, and then keep going. I love that, definitely. And that's really, really been helpful, definitely for that. And I'm really hoping all the listeners are going to really take on board all of these points. And I just wanted to ask, just before we go, like, is there any other thoughts and tips that you can share about speaking effectively in any situation, whether it's stuff that you're learning virtually or particularly I love the stuff as well when you're doing face-to-face work as well?
Yes, I think some of the tips that I could actually give is to actually, number one, is to be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is very, very important because a lot of time people want to be somebody else, or they want to try to be somebody that they've actually aspired to.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine for you to feel inspired by other people, but ultimately you've got to be yourself,
Yeah,
and that's
definitely.
when your true self will actually shine through.
Mm-hmm.
Effective communication, speaking, it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's an intentional connection, and some of the tips will be around listen more.
Mm-hmm.
Listen more than you speak, because
Yeah.
when you listen and you understand what somebody's saying, then you don't really have to ask any more questions. You
Mm-hmm.
understand it, you know and understand the other person first,
Mm-hmm.
and this comes with you listening to what they're saying as well,
Mm-hmm.
and also having a level of understanding in terms of the needs and the wishes and the values of the
Mm-hmm.
person is very, very important. Another one is um, being sort of confident within yourself and what
Mm-hmm.
you're actually offering to somebody else, or what you're actually saying. Confidence is everything. Confidence is key. Being confident to articulate yourself well, and also having a level of articulateness on how to
Mm-hmm.
speak well,
Yeah.
and so that people can actually understand what you're saying. Sometimes people speak and it's almost like, what did that person just say? I'm absolutely confused.
Yeah.
Recently there was a news about COVID, and people just felt like, oh my goodness, I am totally confused. Should
Mm.
we go out? Should we stay in? Should we do
Yeah.
this? Should we go to work? Should we not? You know what I mean? So it's really key to really be articulate and really convey your message,
Yeah.
so that the people who you're conveying it to understands exactly what you're saying. You've got to be specific. You've got to be
Mm-hmm.
effective.
Mm-hmm.
Take responsibilities for your feelings as well, and how you
Mm-hmm.
actually pass that message across.
Yeah.
And make your conversation practical, be specific, and be positive about it. Um, yeah, so those are my tips actually when it comes to
Thank
speaking and
you.
making your speaking more effectively. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds great. Yeah, I love it. The points about being
Mm,
practical, specific, positive, and articulate, definitely, so your listeners can understand. And I love the point that you said as well, that we all need to be great listeners more than we speak, and trying to listen to understand, and to listen to understand the other person first, and understand the needs and the
Mm,
wishes and their values. And I love as well just to come from a place of being yourself, of course be inspired by others, but as well have confidence in yourself, confidence of what you can do, what you can offer. And love that it all comes from a place from inside first as well. And just really, really great, and just really great thoughts and tips on how we can be more effective. It's been great speaking to you today. I'm really, really excited to share this particular podcast with everyone. I can't wait for the feedback. And I wanted to know, like, okay, so what kind of events have you got coming up in like May, June? What's kind of happening? And then how can people get hold of you? And I'll also put this your info in the show notes too. So what
oh,
events?
fantastic. So thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure being on the podcast with you. And I think this is a very important topic because, speaking, effective communication is definitely necessary, especially for personal development as well in your career, and also in running, your business as well. We're always
Mm-hmm.
speaking, talking to people, meeting people, engaging with people. So really honored to have been on this podcast today. So thank you so much, Leighanne. You're doing an amazing job. So keep up the great work.
Thank
So if you want to get in touch, you can actually find us on all social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, as well as
mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. So we have an event coming up on Friday, the 15th, and this is
Mm-hmm.
the virtual networking event for female entrepreneurs. We are going to be focusing on how to turn your expertise into an online business. We have a masterclass, and that would be online.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be leaving the link with you so you can actually share that with any woman who is in business, who is interested, especially particularly for this season whereby everyone is looking for an idea, everyone is looking for a way forward, everyone is looking to pivot and, start something great and start a new business. And they want to kind of get into the world of this online virtual platform. And so we're going to be covering a lot of that: how to start your business online, how to actually use your skills that you have already to turn it and to master it into a great business online. So that's this Friday, and we're starting at 10 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
Today we have a live podcast, which is the podcast that I actually host every Tuesday,
Yeah.
where I interview amazing female entrepreneurs who are experts in their field, where they could share knowledge of how they have been actually adapting to thrive, especially in this season. It's been a difficult time for so many businesses, small businesses, medium businesses, and big businesses as well. And it's really nice to hear from those who are already kind of pivoting and, sharing what they're doing to help other people as well. So we're going to be covering different amazing topics, and today we're focusing on self-confidence as an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur. So it'll be really nice to have a lot of people join in and actually contribute to this conversation. And also we have a life mastermind, which is the second part of that as well, and we're going to be
Yeah.
talking about a woman's worth, and also how to charge for what you're worth as well, a woman's value. Often enough, we don't really know our worth and our value. So come in tonight. Is at 6 p.m. live on Facebook. We're live streaming it on Facebook, Instagram, and also YouTube as well, because we really want to kickstart this powerful entrepreneur movement for women, because we have a powerful voice. And this is what we're going to be doing tonight. If you want to get hold of us, kindly send me an email,
Mm-hmm.
allwomensnetwork@gmail.com. Send in any questions you want to know. If you want to be part of our membership, we have a membership starting very soon, where we will have a lot of networking events every month, and also have different exclusive offers to help you in growing and building your business, especially if you are just starting, or if you are sort of like in the early stages of your business. We have lots of great information and masterclasses and resources to actually help you to build and grow, and also be part of a great community of like-minded women who are willing to break the barriers and actually birth their vision. And they say no because they're now ready to take a step forward and really
Mm-hmm.
be good at what they're doing and really birth those ideas because this is the season to do all these things. So I look forward to hearing from so many of you, and I hope you do enjoy the podcast as well. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Leighanne. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's been amazing. Thank you so, so much, Hannah. It's just been such a great time, a great refreshing hour with you. And I really, really look forward to the feedback and just hearing and learning more from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been amazing. Thank you so much, Leighanne. Take care. Have a
Thank you.
great day. God
Okay,
bless.
bye-bye.
Bye.